I've grown from like a scarcity mindset of parang never having enough, money is too scary to handle and too hard to come by, to an abundance mindset where I just feel like I can attract wealth and abundance and opportunities and experiences because literally all my all my years of struggle, I ended it in 8 weeks with Nick. Like that's how good it was, in such a way that I understood it, everything so simply.
I have a special guest, and this special guest of mine happens to be also my client, and I am so freaking proud of her. So I'll have here Ella with me. So she is basically a success story of someone who has overcome her limiting beliefs about money, and she wanted to break the cycle of living paycheck to paycheck in her family, and now she is empowered to fund her dreams to reality. And I feel like her story really is a living testimony that if she can do it, you guys in this call can also make it possible for you. So, without further ado, allow me to welcome Ella to the call.
Hi everyone. Hi Nick. Thanks for having me.
So, let's start off with, walk us through your financial journey. And like, since you've started working and earning for yourself, how have you dealt with your personal finances before versus how you are doing right now?
So I think when I was growing up, I never really had a mentor or anyone to tell me how to manage my finances. Because growing up, my parents were very irresponsible with money. They pretty much lived paycheck to paycheck and they depended on borrowing from relatives. So I never had like a good role model. And when I was growing up, parang I had everything provided for me when it came to like education, food, shelter. But when it came to other things that I wanted, like if I wanted to buy books, if I wanted tickets to a One Direction concert, like we didn't have money for that. So I guess when I started earning my first salary after coming out of college, parang I was so happy because now I finally have my own money that I can spend on things that I want. But I think that excitement got in the way of like me knowing how to properly save. And when I did actually have my salary, long story short, Frank, I didn't know what I was doing. Like I figured that, as I'm working, I'll figure it out eventually. I'll learn the ropes. I'll come up with a system, blah, blah, blah. I'll read up on financial advice. But yun, parang I felt so attacked when Nick was like, oh, parang don't you look at tips, but how come you never stick to it? And I'm like, oh my God, that's literally me. That's why I think when I quit my job after a year, I didn't have anything saved afterwards because after I quit my first job, I was unemployed for like 6 months to think about things, and in those 6 months I didn't have savings at all because I wasn't able to save at all. It's crazy to see how far I've grown in all my sessions with Nick, because I really thought na parang money is so complicated or so hard to handle, but now it's so easy. And I don't know why I made it so complicated or why I thought it was so daunting or difficult to learn, because now it's like I don't even really think about it.
What makes it easy and effortless for you to like deal with checking your expenses, managing your finances, and all that?
Yeah, I think that comes with two things. The first thing is that with our sessions, I got really clear on my purpose or my why, my greater understanding of what money can do for me and what I want to build towards. And when you're kind of rooted in that purpose and in that goal, you're not wandering aimlessly and you don't distract yourself by, parang budol shopping, reckless stuff. Everything is like, you kind of like a horse with blinders. Parang everything is towards my goal and I'm going to get there. So I think that was one integral part, because even if the second part comes after, which is knowing the system on how to automate, like checking my finances or having even the best financial tips at my disposal, I wouldn't have stuck to that unless I was clear on why. Talking about it in a way that is tangible to me. It's not just like I want to have enough money, but it's like I want to go on this trip or I want to be able to do these things. And seeing how money plays a role in helping me achieve that.
That also, I want to ask, like, what were then your misconceptions or beliefs about money growing up that you now learn to debunk and completely change in your life right now to be who you are and feeling equipped to fund your dream to reality?
Because of the way my parents managed money, I thought that I would never be able to learn. Parang, yun, I had no one to guide me at all. And I
Mm,
always wish that I had like that mentor or that guidance from someone. I was kind of worried that, you know, how parang childhood trauma, there can also be, I guess,
mm,
money trauma, where I guess
mm,
parang I inherit bad spending habits from my parents. And little do we know that we're also like emulating the habits of our parents. That's why I felt like for me it was really important to realize that I am not my parents. I'm not going to make the same mistakes as them. And I can break the cycle if I choose to. Like it's not something that I'm destined to do it just because I grew
mm.
up. Like I have the power within me to like change that and change my life.
Yes, exactly. Like I shared in my IG stories that like you are the epitome of like your past would not define your future, right?
Yes.
Because sometimes you feel like, oh, kanyari ako, like it's so funny that I always share like I was never really good at math, at algebra. Like parang I thought I needed to know all of that. Like I needed to know how to compute things right away in my head para I'll be good at money. But like in reality, like in real life situation, you don't have to know the XYs and like the formulas in Excel to make sure that you're good at handling your money. So it's
Exactly.
really about debunking those things and how can you then use that to empower you. Like you're like, you know what, my parents are like this, but like, okay, how can I break the cycle? So thank you for that. And I know it's something that is not easy for anyone to admit, diba? Like it's not something that's talked about. It's taboo. How has reframing your relationship with money helped you with having more clarity with fulfilling the life that you want?
Now I'm very clear on, or I'm pretty much rooted in my purpose or in my dreams, defining exactly what I wanted to do. Because, like what I mentioned, parang money isn't just about surviving or paying the
Mm,
bill. Like what do I actually want to do with it once I have it, or what will motivate me to work hard
mm,
to save for it in a way that I feel like it actually fulfills me. And it's not really like checking things off my wish list or parang of things I want to buy. It's experiences. That's something I realized, like being able to travel. One of my goals is to like move to Siargao or Bohol for 1 week and just live that
yeah.
island girl life. Yeah. So that's something that yeah, I want to invest in. Life is about experiences and not like material things.
What are those top financial goals that you've set out for yourself in like the next 6 to 12 months that used to really overwhelm you before? Now you had these goals, but now coming out of her, coaching, now you feel like, okay, kayang-kaya ko na to.
My first goal was to really build my emergency fund. And funnily enough, it was your YouTube videos that I stumbled upon that talked about emergency fund and why it was important. At first, I didn't even know what it was until you mentioned it. Ever since I saw that video, I was like, okay, I need to start off with emergency fund. Kung baga, like it will, okay, step one, emergency fund.
Hmm.
So that has been my goal to build it. But then when I prank computed it, with my wonky system, parang I was like, ano ba yan? Parang it'll take me years and years at this rate to save up for my emergency fund. Parang di ko kaya. And just seeing how long it would take me to save to that fund, I was like so discouraged and so parang
Hmm.
disheartened. Like, oh, parang my financial goals are so far away. And that's just emergency fund. Kumbaga, step one lang yan. Like, what more when I want to save for freedom fund? Parang it seems so far away. But after our 8 sessions, yeah, I was able to parang have clarity on how to build that. And I can see that I can build it even faster. Instead of it taking years, I'll be able to build it target this December. So
Ooh!
I
Yes!
know.
That's exactly what we want. How can we fast track our goals, our freedom fund, our emergency fund in such a way that you don't feel like you are stripping away a part of you. That's the kind of coach I am. Like, how can we have a balance, right? How can we have a balance of like, I am so focused on my goal, but at the same time, like along the way, like I want to make sure that I reward myself.
And get the best of both worlds. Like you can still save and still get or still get what you want. And I
Mm.
think part of that was like us defining like what it meant to live a happy life and then kind of like investing our money towards that.
Having been open to the world of, okay, how can I have a coach to help me through it, diba? So what were the events or what were the realizations that you had that you made that it made you think about, okay, I really need to work with a coach in order to better manage my finances?
I think it was just knowing that this would really be an investment towards my future. And I think what I mentioned as well is that it really can be like a life changing investment. So you
Mm.
don't have to spend like hours going through all the self help books, watching YouTube videos. You can just get advice from someone you trust, and it's all personalized. And through these sessions, like Nik will really help you like debunk and break down everything. Like I would liken it to like money therapy basically. And yeah, that was when I realized na parang something has to give. I read tips on how to manage finances everywhere. That's something you can easily find online and in books. How come I can't stick to it? Or how
Mm.
come I can't find a system that works for me from someone who is exactly where I've been, like a millennial Filipina, coming from like a day job. At that point, I really wanted to go and see what a coaching session was like. I also didn't at first know what to expect. I'm like, what happens? So she just like give me the tips and then I just do it. But through the sessions, you'll see so much more than that. And ever since then, I've been recommending it to all of my friends. Yes, of course, sis. And then everyone, whenever I tell anyone as well, they're like, oh my God, Frank, I need that. I need that. So I would really advise you guys, like if you never had that mentorship, never had that guidance, if you want to like stop spending hours going through books, trial and error, choo, the sessions with Nick are super worth it and are life changing if you really like open yourself to it.
I honestly, like when my clients say na it's really like changed their lives, it transformed their lives. It's because your finances is not just one category of your life. Money is supposed to also reflect all the kinds of growth that you want in your life, like personal growth, career growth, also your perception of yourself. I feel like that also were the things that came about. That's why Ella said that it's kind of like money therapy.
It is.
For you, Ella, like what are then some tangible results that you felt like, after implementing the exercises, the insights from our calls, that you felt like it really created a huge impact in your life?
For one, I think it was realizing how a lot of our relationship with money is psychological, and a lot of the way that we spend impulsively comes from not from the big purchases, but in the little habits that we have every single day. Like ever since our sessions, I've stopped like all those little habits that have been holding me back every day. And instead of scrolling on social media, I meditate and I journal or I read. And parang you don't realize that these little habits kind of add up over time and kind of bleed into your spending habits.
Ultimately, as what Ella said na, how do you apply all these tips on a day-to-day basis? Because if you think that it's just a one-time thing na parang, oh, let me just have one call with Nick and then it's done. Like, it doesn't, diba? Like, I think that's what Ella realized. Like, it was a journey for us. It was an 8-week journey talaga. Ella also, like, had stumbling blocks along the way. That's how she also became stronger. I feel like you then there realize na, okay, this is why I need to have a better mindset. This is why I need to build better habits. And like now, like it's so easy for you to really have the right mindset in saving for your money and like having the right systems in place.
I think one thing that really came from our sessions was that I've grown from like a scarcity mindset of never having enough, money is too scary to handle and too hard to come by, to an abundance mindset where I just feel like I can attract wealth and abundance and opportunities and experiences. I want to share the story of, I think in one of
Yeah.
our sessions, I think Nick and I were talking about like a target salary that I could have in mind, or a target income. And at first, like my scarcity, or like the side of me that I've been living in for so long, was like saying, "Oh my gosh, parang it's so hard to come by, like that's so complicated or so far out of reach." And then literally the next day when I woke up, in my payroll was the amount that I wanted and even more. And I felt like, oh my God, this is a sign from the universe that's saying you can do this, that you're capable of achieving it. Those are also like the tangible changes that really came from my sessions with Nick. It was really changing my mindset, something that I haven't been able to do on my own. It's different because when you're trying to like process it by yourself versus having someone there to talk to.
It's all about like looking at it from a different lens, that is like, okay, how can I really root this according to, your purpose, and like how can you be driven for the long term. It's not something na, okay, kailangan kong gawin, and then like the next week may makita ka lang na cute item, you're like, pero mas cute yun. Yung gano'n. I've honestly been through the ups and downs. Yun yung ibig sabihin ko, guys, that I've been through like years of trial and error, with the coaching that we had. It's literally like, okay, for the next 8 weeks, this is supposed to like me as your accountability partner. Like this is really me guiding your way, so that, when you hit stumbling blocks, it's me to be like, okay, balik tayo. Kumbaga sa ways, magre-route tayo dun sa kung saan natin gusto mo pumunta. Ultimately, like, that's what I find most fulfilling, honestly, is that when my clients realize that, like, it's all up to me, honestly. Like, Nick was just there to make me realize that I can be empowered to make it happen. And like, seeing you now, and I have complete confidence that you will, make your goals happen for yourself. What's the best financial advice that you would give to your younger or past self that would inspire our viewers here tonight?
My biggest advice would be get a mentor, girl. Girl, get a mentor. Like don't try to do it on your own. Because I feel like in any place, a good mentor is really like essential to anything. Because literally all my all my years of struggle, I ended it in 8 weeks with Nick. Like that's how good it was, in such a way that I understood it, everything so simply. I really thought everything was so complicated, but when Nick was explaining it, parang in layman's terms, parang gets ko talaga. Like, it's not hard. Yeah, like when I talk to Nick about this, parang I really see that it's her purpose in life. It's her passion. It's what she's good at. She's inspiring so many people, and parang this is like the least I could do to like really give my testimonial to the world of how amazing and life-changing our sessions were. Yeah, don't be afraid and get a mentor.
I think at first we get afraid because nga ang daming information out there. I was like, okay, like there's an abundance of information there about investments and all that, but like no one really fully understands like how do I make sure that I have the right mindset so that I would then make the right investments for my life.
When you think about it, like you really just have one life to live, and as Nick was saying, like time is precious. Time is like the most important currency, and it's not even just about how to save as much as possible or to be as rich as possible. It is how to live a life that is as fulfilling as possible.
That's our wake up call for tonight. Is like that's basically if I could just shake all of you guys, be like, like stop living life according to the validation of others, to what looks good on social media, but it's actually like what feels good to you when no one else is looking. That's what it's all about.